Pumpkin Smasher is now worth Avalon. So, those who I was like, yo, what do you want for Pumpkin Smasher? And you asked for me to trade my soul. Ha ha ha. Look who's laughing now. Me. Yeah, that's right.
Today, we meet on this fateful day to mourn the loss of many loved ones. There has been an absolute annihilation within the King Legacy community of the limited swords. Xmas Blade was always ass. Sweet Lozenge, it doesn't take away dodges anymore. The one good thing it had going for it along with the mobility. Bone Scythe was nerfed a while ago, rightfully so. And Pumpkin Smasher is the only one that is even slightly viable. I stand here amongst all of my brothers and sisters and any other of my blood to tell you that you need to fix the fucking limited swords. Oh my god! This is Xmas Blade. What it suffers from most is the fact that it can't remove dodges as fast, but then again, not many swords can, and the skills don't do enough damage. To be fair, it used to be a first C-sword until it was obtainable. This is Sweet Lozenge. It used to be able to remove dodges, and for a while, it is pretty good. I use it with Love Awakened. This is the first skill. This used to take dodges away, but now it doesn't have that anymore. And then this is the second skill, both really good cooldowns, good for movement. This is Pumpkin Smasher. It is a very good sword, and it does not need to be nerfed at all. All it needs is more AoE, and then it could be one of the best swords in the game. Now, it's the first ability, and one cool thing about this is it has a passive that activates whenever you do damage with the sword equipped. Now, as you can see here, this doesn't mean the damage has to be dealt with the sword. And then for our last sword, Bone Scythe. Now this used to be meta until they nerfed it, removed the dodge take, and nerfed the cooldowns. It is still pretty decent, but only for grouping, and because of this, it should have more AoE than it does now, because right now, it's not really good for that, although you can use it in some very specific scenarios. Now, let me shoot some ideas for reworks for the Christmas limited swords, because they most definitely need them. Now, starting with Xmas Blade, what I was thinking is you could completely just overhaul it, in general, because it's a pretty outdated moveset. So what I have here is, first skill would be called Festive Overload. Pulls in enemies from medium range, like Dark First ability, but half the range, and once they're in front of you, does a bunch of slashes. This will not work if they have dodges on, so you would need to break them completely before you do this, before it even touches them. So, if you use it, and they have dodges on, it will not take anything. So, yeah. Skill 2, Underneath the Tree. The sword grows in size and slams down like if you were to cut down a tree but does no damage. Instead, it marks the enemy as the recipient, showing you where they are at all times. It even appears on the log pose. Does not mark if dodges are off. So, again, it doesn't do anything if dodges are off. But if they're on and you land this, then when you press the skill again, it spawns a present above them and blows up. This goes through dodges because you initially hit them while their stuff was off. Now, recipient debuff would be, this is the description. You are marked on your enemy's screen and are vulnerable to a secret gift. Sweet Lozenge rework. Skill 1, Enteritus. I think that's how you pronounce it. If pressed, once it teleports you. If pressed, it teleports you once and does damage, like normal. If held down, it does 3 fast teleports, like Pterodon, third skill. Skill 2, Crudella's Slice. dashes forward, cutting the air and temporarily freezing anything behind you. Passive ability, Jolly Mode. Each ability gives you 1 steam when activated. After acquiring 20 steam, you enter a Jolly Mode where you will gain a frosty aura and Christmas music will start playing. Skills on Sweet Lozenge can be used twice in this state. Cooldowns are all cooldowns, so Fruit, Sword, and Melee are reduced by 15%, and all winter abilities get a damage increase of 25%. So this would incentivize you to have like matching builds and whatnot. Like the rumor that Quake was good with what Quake did. Quake Spear did buff damage with Quake. You know, that kind of stuff. Speed is increased by 25% as well. This lasts for 20 seconds, but when you get hit, the cooldown goes down by 5 seconds. And then this is a bit of a nerf so that, you know, this isn't completely broken, because 20 seconds can be a while. So, but like, you know, you're given the ability to use Sweet Lozenge's teleport skills twice before it goes on cooldown, and on top of that, your cooldown is also reduced. So this should give you enough time to, like, you know, dodge stuff. But if you get caught lacking, you can very easily get punished, which will shorten down the cooldown, and that is by hit too. And then passive ability with Glacier. If Glacier Stone is equipped, the Glacier Stone effect will not work, but instead the freeze on the second ability will be increased and do burn damage once unfrozen. So that's what I have cooked for the Christmas swords. Now as for the Halloween swords, they don't need much to be done with them. Pumpkin Smasher's first ability should have increased AoE. Not much though, just a bit more. As for the second ability, it's a bit bugged as of now, and it's hard to land properly and on top of that, people can escape it very easily. So as long as you fix it, then the sword has the potential to be meta. Now, as for Bone Scythe, nerfing it as much as the devs did reduced it to a grouping sword. Good thing about this is that there aren't many propping grouping moves in the game that don't move all the enemies all over the place to collect them, like Drakenfangs, for example. So instead, go full on with the grouping idea and make it to where the first skill is Screen Gather, just super large AoE, and does less damage. Then the second skill can stay how it is. This would make Bone Scythe almost a must for most dungeons, allowing you to group most enemies efficiently and with ease. Before we finish the video, I would like to talk about how we got here, why our limited sword is so mediocre despite all of them being unobtainable. Well, when the first limited sword dropped, X-Men Blade, there was only one C, and King Legacy decided to make it like a free Nightblade V1, and it stayed this way for a while, which was good initially, because it allowed lots of free-to-play players to get their own Nightblade, just a little bit worse. Then Pumpkin Smasher dropped in second C, and this was around the time where second C was kind of just starting to like become a thing, and the swords weren't too broken in second C, but they were good enough, and Pumpkin Smasher fit right in nicely. And then Sweet Lozenge came in after that, and it introduced, along with a Metal Trident, a new type of sword that was mainly used for movement. This could have been done right, but sadly the King Legacy dev fell a bit short. Now, as for Bone Scythe, it came out absolutely broken, as it should have. It was a 3rd C sword, and completely shifting the meta. But with the release of the Easter items, I believe that they should completely rework a lot of the limited swords to adjust it to make it feel limited. Because one of the biggest problems in King Legacy is the fact that your swords don't match their drop value. Like, Acro Daggers has an extremely low drop value, yet it still falls short on many accounts, especially with the second ability, making you extremely vulnerable, especially with Blood Moon Twins, a really easy to get sword, being able to counter it almost immediately and one-shotting you. Now, this also applies to all mythic swords too, and most legendary swords, most old legendary swords that for some reason the devs refuse to touch, like Walton Davis, but they really need to just focus on the mythical swords, because the limited swords, because there's so much potential there, especially with them being unobtainable, and it will reward the player base that did play during that time, especially the players that have played for a long time, like me, and have X-Men Blade. And I feel as if the limited swords should stay unobtainable, but make them good, and not too good. So, hope King Legacy devs hear this, listen to this, and maybe think about some of my changes. See you in the next one. Announcement! My last single for my album, Really That's Pathetic, is out now, so go stream Gluttonize My Wet Dream and let me know what you think about it. Here's a clip of it.
Tearing on my flesh like a cannibal. I wanna see just how far you'll go. I wanna see you right outside my window. I want to see you right around the corner. He's under my bed like the boogeyman. Yeah. Get under my sheets, let's boogeyman. Yeah. Get under my skin like a glove you fit. Plague my mind, I'll take over your cortex.